Nerds, this is Val, and here I am with Chris doing our Game of Thrones Season 6 prediction series, and today we're going to be talking about Cersei.
Hey guys, as you can see, I'm here with Val from Because Geek, and we're going to be talking about Game of Thrones Season 6 predictions, and we're going to try to do a couple of these characters a week or every couple of weeks until the season starts. In the meantime, we're talking about Cersei, and we last left her in Season 5 when she had just came off of her Walk of Shame. She's a little bit humbled, although she was left with Qyburn, who had resurrected Frankenmountain, Sir Robert Strong, and she's probably going to be on a hell-bent warpath this season.
One of the more general things for Cersei right now is the fact that, the first thing that we will see, I think, is Myrcella's death, right? We have that confirmed. We saw the picture of her body covered with a blanket or whatever. We know this is gonna drive Cersei mad. So then that will go right into the prediction, speculation, that Cersei will not be able to handle the stress and everything going on in King's Landing, and she will just burn it down.
Burn that bitch to the ground. And that kind of goes into my prediction as well as far as an overview of the season, is that Cersei will continue to remember the Maggie the Frog prophecy. Think about that as soon as she sees Myrcella come up on the boat with Jaime, find out another child's dead, and now she's going to do anything she can to protect Tommen. I would think by now her entire life is kind of revolving around this prophecy she thought about in Season 5 as it opened up with that flashback. So now she's looking to protect Tommen at any cost, and she will burn cities to the ground.
Yeah, and I think we've seen a lot of foreshadowing for that in the books and in the show. Mostly in the books, where Jaime was thinking of the similarities between Cersei and King Aerys, and how she wants to burn everything down, and she gets super excited about seeing the Tower of the Hand burning. So that kind of tells us that she may turn out to be just like Aerys, and just turn mad from grief, probably. Although Aerys wasn't sad, he was just
fucking nuts.
Yeah, but there's a similarity where, we know Cersei likes fire, so there may be some wildfire left in King's Landing that she may use. And, I think she just loses control of everything. Yeah,
I think there's definitely caches of wildfire left for sure, and I think this kind of goes into one of my personal predictions. I don't know if anybody else thinks this or not, but I think there's going to be a parallel there between Cersei and the Mad King, and Jaime for that matter, because it kind of goes into the Valonqar thing. I think Jaime may end up stopping her from burning King's Landing, or at least attempting to. He had to stop Mad King Aerys, right, and became the Kingslayer. Now he may become the Kinslayer. I don't know if that'll happen in Season 6. That may bleed over into Season 7.
Yeah, that's actually really cool, because think about Tyrion. Tyrion is also called a Kingslayer and a Kinslayer. So it would be really cool to see Jaime, his brother, turn out to be the same thing. And we know that in George R.R. Martin's story, history repeats itself. I think it's very possible to see Jaime be the one to kill Cersei. I'm cool with that.
Yeah, I think that's why this story is a little more straightforward than people think. I mean, yes, there's a lot of speculation and theory crafting and all that kind of stuff, which is great. But I think that this story is a little more straightforward in the sense that everything we see, everything we hear about as far as prophecy and history all seem to be repeating itself, and it seems to be a very cyclical thing.
So for this Valonqar theory, there's some things that I've read. There's many things that I've read, and one of the things that I really like is, we know how Maggie works. You ask her questions and she answers your questions. She's not gonna give you any extra information that you haven't asked about. So the fact that she adds the part about the Valonqar at the end, not in the show, means that it has to be someone related to who she was talking about before. And usually when they don't do something in the show, it's usually because it's too obvious. But maybe because people wouldn't know what the Valonqar is. It would be a weird word to say in the show, unless they put subtitles. So if it's related to what she was already saying, because she wouldn't give her any extra information that she didn't ask about, then it could definitely be either one of her children, so the little brother Tommen, or Jaime, or, since right before that line she had said something about a younger, more beautiful queen. That's a whole other topic in itself, but if you think about it, it could be the little brother or little sister of that more beautiful queen that comes along. So I don't think it's anyone else apart from that group of related people. I've heard people say it could even be someone from the Second Sons, it could be Dario, because Second Sons means, little brother. I think that's a bit too far-fetched. So I think it's a lot more related to what Cersei was already asking about.
Yeah, and that kind of goes into the whole Sansa thing. I think Sansa is a candidate for the beautiful queen. A lot of people think it's Marjorie, but I think Sansa this kind of goes into another overview type of thing I had about this season. Kind of a, reverse parallel with Cersei and Sansa, that Sansa is going to be rising in power as Cersei loses hers.
Yeah, so you can definitely see that Sansa's time to rise is coming and Cersei's time to fall is coming. I'm pretty sure we're not gonna see Cersei go back to the place that she was at in Feast for Crows, where she was just back in King's Landing, back in power, back with all of her confidence. I think it would be really lame in the story to have her just go back to that spot after everything that she's gone through. So I think something really big is about to happen in Cersei's storyline, and it'll be a climax and a really hard crash.
I agree. I think she'll go back and temporarily have this little power thing again and kind of get her almost in a comfortable place at first, and then immediately she starts losing everything with the trial coming up and of course Myrcella arriving with Jaime.
Okay, so I just want to expand a little bit more on that younger, more beautiful queen that will take Cersei's place and why it's most likely Sansa. It's not Marjorie. The reason why it can't be Marjorie is because it's too obvious. We already know that Cersei is suspecting that it could be Marjorie, and that's just a red herring for the viewers. It's just too obvious, right? And you know when something's too obvious, it's definitely not the right answer. So I would scratch Marjorie off the list. Dany is the other option that we have, and the reason why I don't think it's Dany is because I read an article that explained it really well and said that Marjorie is the red herring for Cersei, and then Dany is the red herring for the readers, because Cersei doesn't know about Dany, and we the readers know about Dany. So Marjorie is obvious to Cersei, Dany is obvious to us.
It seemed to be very obvious that Marjorie was the younger, more beautiful queen, right? But Sansa was also there, coming to court initially to marry into the family and eventually become queen. So even though I think it's probably Sansa, she was already there, but yet at the same time it's kind of like she was right under her nose and Cersei never even recognized it.
So are you saying that means that Sansa was obvious, or?
Yeah, so Cersei was kind of obvious at first too. Like, she's the younger, more beautiful queen. She's being groomed for it. She headed to court with Ned Stark when he went initially. And then you thought, okay, well, she's going to be the younger, more beautiful queen. But when do we find out about the prophecy?
Right. Yeah, we find out about the prophecy at the beginning of season 5, which is the time when Sansa is already all the way in at the Vale. Okay, so I'm just going to quote God Academy right now, Game of Thrones Academy. You guys are awesome. You have really awesome predictions. The reason why I really like your predictions is because you focus on the history side of things. And I think that's the best way to guess the story, because we know for a fact that George R. R. Martin follows history and he gets inspired by history, right? So Sansa is probably Queen Elizabeth from real life history. And if she is, and I think that relates to the Battle of the Roses, which we know for a fact that George R. R. Martin got inspired from, that is another really good hint that Sansa may be the one. There's a lot of similarities between Queen Elizabeth and Sansa. Both of them were daughters of someone who was accused of treason, and both of them were very unlikely to become queens. Queen Elizabeth didn't have a king. She was queen by herself. They're both redheads.
Yes, they're both English, kingless redheads.
Everything points to Sansa. In my opinion, I really think it's Sansa.
Oh yeah, me too. I agree.
Okay, another thing I wanted to talk about is this one prediction I read that is really, really cool. And it talks about how Tommen may be the Valonqar, right? And there's a lot of different ways that Tommen can be the Valonqar. He could turn into a white and strangle Cersei as he's lost his mind and he just wants to kill people as a white. Or Tommen could die and Cersei kills herself. Her suicide would be coming from Tommen's death. So in a way, Tommen killed Cersei. I really like that prediction. I don't think that will be the case. I think Jaime's prediction would be a lot more interesting to see. So you guys know the line where Maggie says, "When your tears have drowned you." Tears could also be Tears of Liz, which is the poison that Cersei is very familiar with, because that was the one that was used to kill Jon Arryn. When Cersei wanted to kill herself and Tommen when King's Landing was being invaded by Stannis, Tywin walks in and she saves her from it. She was about to use Tears of Liz. So that could have been foreshadowing the fact that she will use them in the end to kill herself. That could also be another thing. As she's dying from the Tears of Liz, maybe Jaime, the Valonqar Jaime, chokes her as a mercy killing. No,
that's a great point on season 3, the Tears of Liz, when she and Tommen are sitting on the throne. Good point, good catch. One thing I'll add about Tommen really quick is I think that Marjorie's going to go to the Faith Militant, whether she really believes that shit or not. And I think Tommen, obviously being her husband, will probably start to separate himself from Cersei a little bit and head over to Marjorie's camp with the Faith Militant. And that could be another way that Cersei and Tommen start to separate. And that will start her on the path to kind of finish up this whole prophecy thing. Okay, to put season 6 for Cersei in some chronological order, I think it starts off in the early episodes with Jaime returning from Dorne with Myrcella's body. Obviously, this is going to drive more of a wedge between her and Jaime, so that's going to start that path, which may lead to the whole Valonqar discussion we just had. I think Cersei would then obviously want to keep her power and want to go to war with the Tyrells and, of course, Dorne for essentially murdering Myrcella. But that will probably drive a wedge between her and Kevan Lannister as well, because he's going to want to remain in power with the Tyrells and keep that alliance together for the sake of power. And I think we'll definitely see Tommen start to resent her because of Marjorie and the whole situation with that. I think, obviously, everybody knows she'll probably demand her trial by combat with Sir Robert Strong, aka Frankenmountain, and that obviously leads to speculation about Clegane Bowl.
Clegane Bowl. I just wanted to quickly remind people that Rory McCann, the actor that plays the Hound, was seen staying at a hotel in Belfast where Game of Thrones actors usually stay at during filming. Alright, so remember that. I believe in an 80% confirmation that the Hound will be back.
Now, I agree. I think the Hound would definitely be back, at least alive, and I think that's a good ending for him anyway, even if he's just a religious man on the Quiet Isle. But at the same time, we all want that to happen in a way, but is he able to do it? I mean, he is lame. He has some horrendous injuries. Will he be able to fuck with his brother? I think at some point she's going to become frustrated with her Uncle Kevan, because he, again, is going to want to remain in power with the Tyrells. She's going to be all hell-bent on destroying everybody. So in the books, Varys leaves Meereen and comes over to prepare for Aegon or Fagon's landing and his coming to Westeros to take power as Aegon Targaryen. However, in the show, they may have Cersei kind of take his place and kill Kevan herself and Grand Maester Pycelle. She did make a comment back in a previous season about the small council was still too damn big.
So yeah, you guys remember when Maester Pycelle made that comment about, you know, the small council is growing smaller, and then Cersei said it's not small enough yet. That's a pretty good foreshadowing for me that she may do something to just make the small council smaller. And we know for a fact that Varys will be leaving Meereen. We know from the leaked filming news that Varys leaves Meereen and says bye to Tyrion, telling him that he's the world's most famous dwarf. So if he's leaving Meereen, he's probably going to King's Landing. I mean, where else is he gonna go, right?
Right, I agree. And either way, after Kevan dies one way or the other, I think then she'll probably start a war anyway. And this may lead to what we just discussed earlier about the whole burning down King's Landing thing. We did see Dany's vision in the House of the Undying in the show, which was completely different from the books, but we saw the Red Keep. We saw the ceilings were burnt out. It looked like dragon fire, but of course it could be wildfire, and there are probably caches of that left over from Blackwater Bay. So then I think she probably will try to have Mace Tyrell killed, and of course this is going to have the Queen of Thorns going after Cersei, but the problem is here is she can't just take Tommen down as far as exposing him as being a bastard, because that would in turn take Marjorie down as the actual queen.
Yeah, that's a really good point. I hadn't thought of that, actually. Attacking Tommen is not the greatest idea right now. For the Tyrells.
Exactly. But during this war, I think that the High Sparrow will probably try to prove Tommen's illegitimacy, so that's going to be even more trouble for both houses.
I think the Tyrells are going down, man. Nothing bad has happened to the Tyrells yet.
Yeah, I mean, a house with fucking flowers as their sigil, come on. And for me, ultimately this season, Cersei's path is basically that of going down, losing her power, and she's going to try to fuck everything up she can before she loses that power. And I think, again, this reverse parallel with Sansa's going on. While she loses her power, Sansa gains hers in the north.
So I think we can all safely assume that Cersei is going to die soon. I'm pretty sure Chris agrees with me that it's probably not going to happen in season 6.
Yeah, I agree. I think she makes it through season 6. I think some of this is obviously going to spill over to season 7. We basically just laid out her entire story arc anyway, right? So this could go on through the last season, season 8, but I think this is basically her entire story arc. I think season 6 is going to focus on the smaller aspect of King's Landing and ends up being burnt to the ground. Maybe season 6, perhaps that spills over into season 7.
So just to wrap it up here, I think my prediction would be that we know already that the High Sparrow will just go all out this season because of the teaser that we got, the Lannister teaser. And I think that Cersei will go mad, but I don't think that the High Sparrow will win. I think the High Sparrow will give it his best shot, but I don't think the High Sparrow will win. I get a feeling that Cersei will have her last victory against the High Sparrow before her fall. Yeah.
So I totally agree with that, Val. This kind of goes off what I said earlier in the video about she will kind of come back up just a little bit before she drops off and becomes nothing. So I think you're absolutely right. I think at the end of the day, She has a little victory. She thinks she's getting back to where she was established before, but then the bottom drops out and everything goes to hell. All right, guys, I think that's all we have for Cersei. We probably left a lot out, so please let us know in the comments what you think about Season 6 and what her destiny is going to be. So I want to thank Val for being on Smokescreen finally, and we're going to continue to do this series for different characters throughout the remaining weeks until Season 6 starts in April. April is coming. So thanks again, Val, for being on Smokescreen. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you, Chris. This was a lot of fun to do, and I'm looking forward to all the other videos that we will be making. And guys, just remember, half of the characters will be on my channel, half of the characters will be on his channel, and this will be a collaboration series.
So yeah, in the meantime, click here for the video we did on Sansa and her Season 6 predictions on Val's channel, Because Geek. Be sure to check that out. Let us know in the comments below what you think about Cersei and what her fate's going to be in Season 6. Be sure to like and subscribe. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.
All right, ladies first. I'm gonna kick it back over to the